Okay, well, I think we will make a start. Good afternoon, everyone. Are you having a good day?
Yeah.
Excellent. Gosh, if I'd known we were going to have this many people, I think we would have sold tickets, I think. But I'd like to welcome you to the Open Day today. We've certainly turned on good weather. I'm aware that some of you have come from outside of Canberra. Would that be right? Who's from outside of Canberra? Wow, fantastic. Excellent. Well, I hope you're having a really, really good day. What I'd like to do in this session is to just introduce you to my school and to the programs we offer, and to tell you a little bit more about why you should perhaps consider studying international business or business administration. What I'd also like to do is to give us time at the end, because you might have particular questions that you want to ask. So let me now just go through. I've got a presentation. I won't kill you with PowerPoint, but I do have some key messages that I want to share with you. And if you do have questions as we go along, please feel free just to stop me and ask, because or write it down. We can talk about it at the end. Okay. All right, so as you're probably aware, if you've looked at the marketing materials for ANU, that we are ranked number 1 in Australia on the QS rankings, number 20 in the world. And in terms of business and economics, we are ranked number 1 in Australia. And it's a reputation that we're very proud of. We take the rankings very seriously as a research-intensive university. We are, of course, one of the group of 8 universities. I'm sure you're aware of that. That's probably why you're here today. So our staff are actively engaged in research. Now, just looking at some other stats here, as I mentioned, we are number 1 in Australia and number 20 in the world on the QS rankings. And we're also the most internationally focused university, according to the Times Higher Education rankings. And you certainly get a sense of that. When you look at the student body, when you look at the staff that are here, it is like we're from the United Nations. It is a real microcosm of society. We also, as a university, have 6 Nobel Prize laureates, and that's another reputation, including that we're very proud of, including our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Brian Schmidt, who, of course, is a Nobel laureate. So we're very proud of our pedigree. Now, let me say something about where our programs might take you. And this is something we're also very proud of, because we have the most employable graduates in Australia. And that's not just our claim. I'll show you some stats on that in a moment. But one of the things that really impresses me is just how far our students do go, just here in Australia and internationally, and the kinds of careers they end up in. And you can see some of the areas where our students end up working. And we work very hard to prepare our students for the real world. And so not only do we have theoretically rigorous programs, but we also have programs that really are practically oriented, that will give you the skills that you need to succeed in the real world. And I always like to say to students, particularly if you are here as a student considering studying at the ANU and studying in our college, that there are really 3 things you have to do to prepare yourself for employability. The first is you need to obviously do as well as you can in your study, because employers do look at transcripts. They do look at that. But that's not enough. You also have to have some part-time work. And I know most students, I would say probably 90% of my students, would have a part-time job of some description. It doesn't really matter what you end up doing, because employers like to see that you have organisational experience. So you should always aim to try and get some part-time work. That's the second thing. And the third thing you should do is you should embrace the opportunities for co-curricular activities. And we offer a number of those activities through the college, but we also have, we also encourage you to show leadership, to show creativity, to show teamwork, to show initiative through clubs and societies, or anything outside of your university that actually supports your studies. And in particular in my school, because my school really is about preparing students for leadership roles, and our students do end up in very senior positions. Interestingly enough, of this list here, when I think about students that I'm aware of that have come out of our undergraduate programs, we're seeing a lot of students go to management consulting. I'm aware of quite a number of students that are being employed now in the consulting industry here in Canberra and also outside of Canberra as well. And it's an area that many students are looking to gain work in. Another aspect as well is that we're seeing increasingly students who are not perhaps looking to take a graduate position but are looking to actually start their own business. And we've created here in the college an innovation hub that actually is really about working as a business incubator. We have strong links, of course, with industry, because many students develop ideas through their study and are looking to start their own businesses. Now, in terms of some of the statistics about employability, you can see here that the average starting salary for graduates from this college was $60,000 last year, about $60,000, which is very good. And within 4 months of graduation, 59% of our students were working in the private sector. So even those who, often we get a perception of Canberra that it's all about government jobs. Well, actually there are now more private sector employees in Canberra than there are government employees. So 59% are working in the private sector, 38% are working in the public sector, and 3% not-for-profit sector as well. We're particularly proud of the fact that about 78% of our graduates who are looking for full-time work had found work within 4 months. We know that many students, when they graduate after 3 years, they like to take a bit of time off and travel and do other things as well. So our graduate employability record is very, very good. And you can see here some of the areas where our students end up working in some of the sectors. We find students working in banks, working in consulting and accounting and government and so forth. One of the questions that's often asked to me about employment is, how important is it, the particular degree that you enrol in? How does that then determine exactly what kind of job? And the answer to that question is really it depends. Obviously, if you're studying an accounting degree, you'll be looking for a career in an accounting role. However, if you choose to study something like Bachelor of Commerce or the Bachelor of Business Administration in my school, really your career can go in many different directions, because it's the kind of program that gives you the flexibility and the leadership skills to be able to prepare you for those roles. I mean, if you look at the consulting firms, if I look at the students that I'm aware of that are joining, particularly the big consulting firms here in Canberra, they've come from many different degree areas. So we've got students that have done the Bachelor of Business Administration, others have done Business Information Systems, etc. Okay, let me tell you a bit about my school. So my school teaches into 3 undergraduate programs. So the Bachelor of Commerce is perhaps the most popular program in the college, and it's often one that is paired with a double degree. So we have many students taking either a 4 or a 5-year double degree, which is paired with commerce. Within the commerce degree, you have to take one major, and a major comprises 8 courses. We also have the Bachelor of Business Administration degree. I'll talk a bit more about that in depth in a moment, and the Bachelor of International Business. So these are the 3 programs. Now, within the College of Business and Economics that you're sitting in today, we are one of 4 schools. So we are the Research School of Management, and as you can see on the slide, we have around about 50 academic staff. So they are either full-time staff like myself, or they are staff that we come in on contract because they have specialist skills that that really inform our teaching. So those Those staff are very, very diverse. So there are many who've come from quite different backgrounds. We are a very diverse school. We cover 5 discipline areas: management, marketing, international business, business information systems, and project management. So, and we teach around about 100 subjects a year, so quite a lot. And to do that, we, with our 50 academic staff, we of course hire in people who have specialist skills. They're working as consultants, they're working as project managers here in Canberra, so they are practitioners as well as academics. Okay, so Bachelor of Commerce, so you may be aware from looking at the marketing materials that the Commerce degree is a 3-year program plus a 1-year honours option. The honours year is by invitation only. It is for very high-performing students, but particularly for students that want to go on to pursue a research degree. Doesn't mean that you have to then do a PhD. We have honours students who actually want to complete a research year and then go into industry, because what an honours degree signals to industry is that you are a very high-performing student and you've been able to conduct a research project. Now, in a commerce degree, there are, of course, structured courses. In your first year, you will be taking all the foundational courses, not just in my school, but also you'll be taking some economics, some finance, some business information systems, economics, finance, and some accounting in your first year, and you also take business communication in my school. You have to choose one of 8 majors in the commerce degree, and quite a few of those majors actually are taught in my school. So we have business information systems, we have corporate sustainability, we have international business management and marketing are taught in my school. So a major appears on your transcript as a coherent program of study where you are taking 8 courses. Now, I've highlighted there international business because the majority of students that I have in the international business, in my international business courses, students who are not necessarily doing the Bachelor of International Business, but they are studying the International Business major. It can also be taken as a minor. A minor comprises 4 courses. The major is 8 courses. Now, this is some of what the major looks like. So this gives you a flavour for the type of courses. So the course that I teach is that very first course, which is International Business. And what I teach in that course is all about preparing you for an understanding of the global business environment. So we cover economic, political, ethics, cultural, trade, financial conditions in which multinationals operate. Now, why would you consider studying international business? Why would you perhaps do this? Many ask, how is it different from just studying business in general? Well, many employers actually say that what they want in graduates is students that understand cross-border commerce, that have a good understanding of how to manage suppliers, how to deal with customers in a cross-border context. And so what this program does is it prepares you exactly for that, for a role in a multinational where you are going to have international engagement. Now, as part of the major, of course, you will take a coherent program of study. Obviously, you take some strategy. You choose marketing or human resource management. So there are some options that you can choose within the IB major. But what you have to do is you have to have one area of regional specialisation. And the ones that we currently offer are Asian business, European business, and Middle Eastern business. And so, and you can see those courses are offered here. Now, you can take more than one, the way the program is structured, but you have to take at least one because you need to have an understanding of the differences of doing business in those contexts. We also, of course, teach cross-cultural management, and that's important to understand the differences, because one of the challenges in a globalised world is we tend to think that the way business occurs, the way that we interact across borders is exactly the same, and it's not. The fact is that there are still significant regional nuances, and of course we want to expose you to that. Now, so that's the International Business major. If you take the minor, then you're going to take 4 courses only in the major. Now, there are many other courses. I haven't listed them all here. We have courses, for example, in business negotiation and conflict resolution, and we have some other specialist courses that I'll talk about in a moment. Now, some of you might be here because you're interested in the Bachelor of Business Administration. And one of the questions I get asked is, what's the difference between the BBA and the Bachelor of Commerce? And the answer is simply this, that we have students who sometimes maths is not their strong point. They're looking for a program that has more flexibility to be able to build it the way they want, but they also perhaps not as gifted at maths. But they do have leadership and management skills, and we recognise that. So in the BBA, you're going to do a lot of, quite a depth of courses in leadership and problem solving and management in more general, and of course entrepreneurship and innovation. The way this program is structured is you have 10 core courses that you take that are required out of the 24, and then you have some restricted electives where you have some choice, and then you have 10 electives that you can choose to build the program any way you want, and that includes taking a major from within my school, one of the other majors, or you can take a combination of minors, or you can take something outside of our school if you want. So this, and you can do a language if you want in another college, or so this program is a very, very flexible program. You still do some statistics. I should point out you still are required to take statistics. We see that as important. So we have a foundational course in statistics, but it's basically a fairly maths light program. Now, increasingly we find that a lot of students want to do double degrees, and what a double degree does is it's a fairly accelerated program. A lot of students have a wrong impression. They think a double degree means you have twice the study load, and you don't. A double degree basically means you do exactly the same 4 courses per semester. What happens though is your program is shortened from 6 years down to 4 years, or 5 years, depending on what you pair it with. But what you're doing is you're losing the electives, so that it actually is a more structured program. And a typical double degree student is taking 2 courses or 2 subjects each semester from one degree and 2 from the other. Now, in terms of ATAR entry, you have to meet the ATAR requirements for the program that has the higher ATAR requirement. So if you look at Commerce and Bachelor of Business Administration, the ATAR for 2018 is 82. But if you're going to pair that with law, for example, you're going to need to meet the entry requirements for law or for engineering, for example. So the flexible double really allows you a lot of choice about what you pair. There's something like 750 different combinations across ANU in pairing a double degree. We also have a new program. I haven't got a slide here on that, but it's mentioned in your marketing collateral, is what we call a vertical double. And a vertical double we're very proud of, because what it is it's pairing an undergraduate degree with a master's degree. And in 4 years, you can actually complete an undergraduate with a master's. Now, how that works is that instead of doing a 3-year undergraduate degree, you do the first 2.5 years is your undergraduate degree, and then you start the master's courses in your last semester. And then you continue on for another 1.5 years with master's courses, and then the electives drop away, and in 4 years you've completed. And that's an excellent option for a student that particularly wants to do something technical as an undergraduate degree and then put, for example, management on the top. Because we know that often to progress in your career, with any kind of technical undergraduate degree, you're going to need to develop management skills, and so we offer that option as well. So that's something to think about. That was a program we introduced last year. We still have students who are progressing through their undergraduate, and we will have graduates in about 2020 or 2021 in that program. But by far the most common double degree is to pair 2 undergraduate degrees. Now, students do some amazing combinations, and what we often say is you should choose one for the head and one for the heart. Okay, so we've got students, for example, who might be doing commerce, but they're also pairing it with Bachelor of Music. Okay, and I've had students that do that. In fact, I've got a graduate who finished just last year with exactly that combination, and she's just been offered a job working in an investment bank. Okay, so you might think, okay, and this is the other thing I wanted to say, is that employers, yes, they look at your degree and it does matter, but also they're looking for talent. So it's never just about what degree you study, but it's also about who you are, and increasingly that's becoming important. So employers may be less concerned. I'm seeing it with the consulting firms. They're less concerned about whether you've done a BBA versus a commerce degree, but if you study a BBA or international business, you will have quite a strong development in management and leadership. So Bachelor of Business is a more specialist degree. It's got a slightly higher ATAR score. You need 86 for this program. It's a degree that you can only start in semester 1 in February. For the Bachelor of Commerce, you can start in February or you can start in July, but for the IB, you have to start in Feb. And it's a program that you can only take as a single degree. And the reason for that is it's a degree that's offered across colleges. So this is for a student who really wants to have very deep knowledge about a particular region. So you complete the Bachelor of International Business major, and you still have to choose one of the specialisations in terms of Asian, Middle Eastern or European are the 3 we're offering at the moment. But you also will be taking courses in the other colleges, either College of Arts and Social Science or College of Asia and Pacific, and you have to complete a major in a language. So many students who are in this program are students who might have started at school in year 11 or maybe even earlier a particular language, like they might be studying Mandarin or they're studying German, and what they want is they want to be able to continue studying that language to become completely proficient, but they want to then pair that with the business skills and the acumen to be able to operate in that region. You also take other courses related to the region, political economy, there are some sociology courses as well. So it's a program that is really, although it sits within my school, it is a program that is offered across colleges. Now, as with all our programs, and particularly with this program, we do encourage you to study at one of our partner universities. We have a lot of students who go and study for 1 semester. That's not just available in this program, but all our programs. And usually that's available from 2nd or 3rd year onwards. And what you do is you have to apply, and then we have partner universities right across Europe, Asia and the US, and you essentially go off for a semester, and what you study there is then accredited back to your degree here. And what we normally say is that you should try to complete your core courses here and then use your electives for when you study at your partner university. And I would strongly encourage all students to consider that option because it's a very enriching experience. If you're interested in IB, of course, it's a great way to immerse yourself within the culture and the setting in the region that you're studying in. This slide here is from a website just to give you a flavour for some of our courses. You find when you study in my school that we do things quite differently, perhaps to some of the other schools. We also find that you'll find there's a lot of variation even within my school in the way we teach. We adopt a very interactive approach. So our class sizes in my school tend to be a lot smaller. We get to know you. We use a variety of teaching methods. So we have a strong emphasis on evidence-based management, which is really helping you to become critical thinkers and problem solvers, to be able to weigh up evidence in all its forms so that you can become an effective manager in the future. Because as I'm sure you're aware, the world is highly complex and the business environment is very dynamic, and that you need to have skills that are going to prepare you for that kind of world. And one example of the way we teach our courses, this comes from our international marketing course. It's part of the international business major. It's a third-year course, and students are engaged in a live competition. So you're working with local businesses around Canberra to develop an international marketing plan. It's run as a competition. You can see it's supported by the ACT government and a number of industry partners. And you are having to present a live project that is going to help these companies to internationalise. And it's one of our very, very popular courses. It's not a compulsory course, but it's a course that gives you that practical experience, but also the industry exposure. And you can see these were the winners from a couple of years ago. And there is a prize. There is a prize associated with the winners. We also have at the college level an internship program, which is an international award-winning program, and it's a different kind of internship program to what many universities offer. What makes it different is that we don't just send you off for 6 months and then wonder how you're getting along. We actually appoint an academic supervisor to work with you. And so our students have both a workplace supervisor and an academic supervisor working with them. Now, these are just some of the partners that we are currently working with. As you can see from the list here, there's actually 85 host organisations around Canberra. And you're not making tea and coffee, you're not running errands. This is, you're working on professional projects. Now let me just give you an example of some of the kinds of projects that our interns are working on. I'm supervising some students at the moment that are doing some work for Innovate Canberra, and of course, as you may be aware from the media, is that Canberra is looking to develop itself as a freight hub. And so they're doing some initial feasibility study on the viability in certain sectors about making Canberra a freight hub. So they are working with industry professionals, gathering data, doing analysis, and they will prepare a report that will be used by the Chief Minister, particularly when he promotes Canberra publicly. I've had other students, for example, at the Royal Australian Mint, who have been involved in developing strategy documents for the Mint, particularly for their clients overseas, because the Mint produces coins and specialist metals for overseas clients. I worked with a student last year who was working on an affordable housing project, and again doing some fairly high-level analysis on how to solve Canberra and really Australia's affordability challenges. So you can see the kinds of projects. So essentially what the internship students do is they complete 120 hours in the field. You enrol in the internship course and you take that course around your other courses. So most students are working 1, maybe 2 days a week, and then more during the break at the host organisation. So we're very, very proud of this program, and what we're seeing also is excellent graduate outcomes. Some of our interns are actually getting jobs in with the host organisation. So what starts as an internship becomes graduate employment. We also have a special industry project, and the special industry project is a little bit like an internship. You're working in teams and you're working with a host organisation to solve their organisational challenges. And this year, our students enrolled in this course are working with Unilever, the multinational company. And there's both an academic component to that course as well as an applied project. We've also introduced Global Business Immersion Study Tours, and I'm sure you can see from the photo that these are highly popular with students. We offer, starting next year, we're offering 4 of these tours a year in January, April, July and in September. And they comprise a 10 to 12 day in-country immersion experience, but it is enrolled as a full semester academic course. There is work you do before, during and after the study tour. I led the first study tour to India last year, and I took 22 students and I exposed them to the diversity of India, everything from visiting India's companies that are operating in the aerospace industry, on the one hand, right through to taking students to villages and looking at microfinance projects and visiting slums to look at micro businesses at the other end. So these tours are they're not holidays, they are very intensive, but they, again, giving you first-hand experience with industry leaders. Typically we would get representatives from Austrade or from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade to meet with us, and so students are getting a flavour of what it takes to do business, and they're getting a different kind of perspective that you would get simply sitting here in Canberra. Of course, you're going to have a very strong international focus, particularly in the programs offered in my school, but again, you get a different perspective when you're actually immersed in that culture. Another program that we offer our students, which is in its pilot phase at the moment, but one that we're very proud of, is a program called Momentum, and it's a program designed to develop your employability skills. It's not an internship. It's essentially a series of workshops and mentoring that allows you to understand what kind of business acumen you need to develop to be able to be successful. So we offer support in resume writing, application writing. In particular, you develop your networking and interviewing skills, and students sign up to a 9-month program to prepare them. And our industry partners like PwC and Platinum, and CPA Australia, we're working very closely with on this program, and the early results in this are excellent. Okay, and it's once again, it's not an automatic program, but this is part of the sorts of co-curricular activities that we offer in the college. Okay, now I'll finish up there because I've given you a lot of information, but maybe you have particular questions you would like me to answer. Maybe you've got something a little more general, like what is it like to be a student? Because I can give you certainly a lecturer's perspective on what it's like to be a student.
I know that international business can't be applied in the double degree, but are there elements of any degree in the flexible double degree that the international business sort of incorporates?
If you really want to do a double degree and you want to study international business, you're better to embed the major, the international business major, within the Bachelor of Business Administration or in Commerce. Okay? And then you can pair it with something else like engineering or science or law or arts, for example. Okay, so that's really your best option. As I said, I mean, you can certainly, if you're going to study the Bachelor of International Business, you are encouraged, in fact, in that degree to go and study overseas. So you can obviously choose some electives from the partner university as well that might meet your needs. Okay.
So with the 2 programs you mentioned, the Momentum program and International Study Tour,
yep.
If you study from either 3 of those degrees, so Commerce, BBA or International Business, you can apply.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's open to all our students. Yep. Okay. It's not automatic entry into any of those programs. In fact, for the study tour, we actually have funding that is available, particularly under the new Colombo plan, So we've got the destinations worked out for the next 2 years, and we've applied for funding. So, for example, we've just had a tour last semester which went to Beijing, and nearly every Australian student had almost full funding for that program. Okay, so obviously there's going to be entry criteria. We look at your GPA, we look at whether you're in your last year. You have to be in at least second year, but also third year. We do make some decisions about which students are able to participate, and that's based particularly on opportunity. For Momentum, Momentum is actually not targeted at our highest performing students. It's actually students who we believe really can benefit from developing networking, developing interviewing skills, etc. Okay.
So just with the applications
Yeah.
for these programs, do you just take GPA into account, or do you take stuff like work experience or work placement?
Okay, yeah. For example, with the Momentum program, students have to actually submit an application, and we look at their response to some questions that we ask about why they want to do the program. Do they understand what the program is about? And from that, we make a decision. We're looking to expand that program. With the study tours, they've been so popular, we've moved from 2 to 4 a year. And that suits many students as well, because if they take a study tour in January or in July, it enables them to accelerate their program or have a slightly lighter semester. I should point out too that in my school we have a summer school program as well, and what you do is in the summer school is you can take, at the moment we offer 2 undergraduate courses that can be taken in 4 weeks. So they're accelerated program. You don't lose out on the content, but they are taught more intensively over January, and what that can do is then lighten your load for the future. Okay? So if you've got nothing better to do in January, and they're popular. Last year I had something like 150 students in the international business course, which we also offer in January. We do change the courses. It's not a we look each year at what might be of interest to students, but certainly we choose courses that are likely to have wide appeal, because it's not just students within the college, but also outside taking them.
You highlighted a lot of points where students are encouraged to engage with industry through the internship or such programs which are delving into the other regions.
Yeah.
Through those full curriculum of 3 years, are there things like guest speakers from the industry arriving or having seminars where they are coming to the university and engaging with students?
Definitely. The answer is yes to that. So just for an example, just to give you an example, I mentioned that I teach the Foundation International Business course. So every semester I would have guest speakers coming. So I've had guest speakers from Austrade, for example, Senior Trade Commissioner from Austrade coming and talking about doing business in a particular sector or a particular region. So students get a feel for what it's like for how you facilitate international engagement and the kinds of challenges for Australian firms doing business internationally. So yes, we do use guest speakers. There are seminars that are offered here. We have, for my school, for our postgraduate students, we have a seminar series where students are encouraged to come and hear from either successful alumni or from other industry speakers who just give an interesting perspective. So what we're seeing is a lot of industry engagement, and you find that across the courses in my school is that all lecturers approach their teaching slightly differently, in that we use a lot of case method teaching, we use different analytical frameworks, we use guest speakers and competitions. There are different ways and methods of teaching, and we try to, if you like, mix that up, because what we're trying to develop is your leadership and management skills, your critical thinking, your problem-solving skills, and to do that you need to be exposed to a variety of learning methods, and so that's important to us.
And is the point which you made about the sort of business information if somebody wants to be an entrepreneur? I understand there is no separate stream of course or discipline in terms of entrepreneurship, but think of if somebody wants to grow their idea into a feasible outcome. So is the student-led initiative, or is it something where
Yeah.
So, just trying to understand whether it's
Yes.
something with books or it's just something, okay, I want to do this, I have this idea and I just want to talk about it. What sort of environment is that?
Yeah. So entrepreneurship and innovation is taught in my school. We have a third-year course on entrepreneurship and innovation. As part of that, those involved in teaching that course are involved in the Canberra Innovation Network. We also have an innovation hub that is fairly new development within the college, again to try and help students to develop their ideas and in particular what you need as a new entrepreneur is really networking opportunities, and you also need to learn opportunities about how to learn skills in how to develop a business idea. So we have a number of courses too that help develop business ideas. This is not just at undergrad level, but also postgraduate level too. We also have special research topics courses that enable students to develop their business plan, particularly at postgrad level more so than at undergrad level. And Innovation ACT, yeah, thanks Byron.
If you wanted to study a language, is the only way of doing that like doing the IB course, or can you do the IB course as a major and still study language?
You can still study a language. So if you, for example, you're a commerce student, you could study a international business major, and then with your electives you can go across to one of the other colleges and study a language as well at the level you want. Okay, so with the Bachelor of International Business you have to complete a major in that language, but if you're doing it as part of a commerce degree you don't have to. Okay, you can do as much or as little as you want, or you could try a few different languages. So I've got students that have done Mandarin and Japanese, for example, while studying IB.
This is more on the employment side of it, especially for the IB program. Since it is stepping into international business, it's a bit focused on the other regions of the world. Any instances or from the recent or the past that Bachelor of programs you are ended in recent times, have students actually been after the program has ended, being able to be employed in firms outside Australia?
Employed in firms outside of Australia? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because we have a mix of domestic and international students, and a lot of international students will, some want to stay and work in Australia, and they do, and others will actually want to return to their home country. I'll give you an example. I've got a student who graduated, studied international management, and she has gone back to China. She's a Chinese student, and she's working for a Canadian company, Bombardier, and she markets executive jets. So that's her role. So she's working for a Canadian firm, but back in China, having studied here in Australia. So a very international career. So the answer is yes. So students don't just stay here and work for Australian companies that are engaging internationally. They often end up all over the place. And we're doing work actually because one of the challenges for any university is how you keep track of your graduates. Okay, because we know that for anybody sitting in this room here, that you're going to have multiple careers in your life. You're going to change organisation multiple times, and so we're looking at we're doing a lot of work now to be able to track our students into the future. Not at all. That's a good question, and I didn't answer that before. No, you can simply start from scratch. So you start with introductory language courses. The way it works with languages, if you already have some proficiency in a particular language, then you can apply for credit. I think they have it. They will test you on that. It's not just because you said you've done 4 years of German at school, for example. They will actually test your skills. But it is possible, in a sense, to get a credit and to accelerate that if you already have those skills. But if you are new to the language and you've always had an interest in studying Bahasa Indonesian, for example, then you can go and do that. So there are, in terms of prerequisites, often students, particularly if you're coming out of Year 12, students get somewhat concerned about, am I well enough prepared? Well, essentially, if you have done maths, even at sort of 2-unit level, if you in the New South Wales system, or if you've basically done standard maths, then you're fine. My school is not particularly mathematically challenging. Okay, obviously in the commerce degree you will be doing you'll be doing a finance course. You do have to do the introductory statistics course. You will do, of course, accounting, although the financial reporting and analysis is not particularly mathematical. But there's not a lot of assumed knowledge, okay, particularly at undergraduate level. Okay.
Will we be starting a business as part of...
No, not actually starting a business. But we do have... we do have students who do start businesses. For example, there's a group on campus called 360 Degree Consulting. And so that's a kind of a student-led consulting initiative that has actually come about as a result of students with business ideas on campus. There's been a few other interesting initiatives that have come up. Another one to do with waste management that has come about because students develop their ideas while on campus. But actually starting a business, no, you're not actually incorporating a company or registering a business name and starting a business as such. Okay, and again, you get, if you look at that 3rd year entrepreneurship and innovation course, there's kind of 2 types of students that do that course. There are those that just want to learn more, if you like, academically about entrepreneurship and innovation and the process of how you turn ideas into commercial opportunities. But then we also have students that do want to start their own business. And so that course gives you that kind of platform. A number of people teach into that course. So for some of all our courses have a convener, but for some of our courses they are also co-taught with other faculty who come in and give guest lectures and share their experience and expertise. Any other questions I can help you with? What you find is that, by the time you start getting into the specialised courses in 2nd and 3rd year, you'll find that our class sizes will be a lot smaller. Typically, at undergraduate level, our classes are divided into lectures and tutorials, where a lecture will be larger, of course. A tutorial will be typically up to about 22 students in a tutorial. They can be smaller than that. They can be a little bit larger than that. They're certainly not larger than 25 students because that's pretty many, as many seats as we have in the room. For some of our other courses, though, they're taught as 3-hour seminars. So essentially that's a mix of lecturing and, again, a highly interactive way of teaching that we adopt in this school. This is not just chalk and talk at all. And we use, for example, in my course, we use a lot of case study learning. So we look at examples of firms that have done well and firms that have done poorly. We look at conditions that give rise to either business opportunities or business challenges. And what I'm trying to give students is not just knowledge about these things, but to actually develop their ability to think and make decisions. So I often deal with quite challenging or controversial issues because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get students to really think hard that the world is generally not just right and wrong, that there are many shades of grey that need to be considered if you're going to do business, particularly internationally. Other questions or comments that I can answer? Thank you.
Is an international business degree CPA backed?
No, it's not a CPA. It's not a CPA accredited because the degree programs. Thanks very much, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you. I realise we've just gone over time.